Close your eyes to the world for a moment. Step back from all appearances. Ignore the facts, the noise, the delays. What if I told you that miracles are not earned, chased, or begged for? They are received by assumption. You are not here to wait. You are here to become, to awaken to the truth that your every desire already exists in another dimension, waiting for you to align with it. And the secret, the real divine secret, is to act as if it is already yours. You see, the world reflects what you are, not what you wish for. You are not a beggar in this universe. You are the magnet. And what does a magnet do? It does not struggle. It does not effort. It simply attracts by nature of what it is. So I ask you, who are you being today? Are you acting as if you are someone waiting for miracles? Or are you being the one through whom miracles flow? The one who knows, not guesses. The one who assumes the reality they desire so completely, the outer world must obey. Your only job is to embody the state. Not speak of it, not hope for it, but to walk, breathe, and feel from it. Speak as the healed, move as the blessed, think as the abundant, rest as the one whose prayer is already answered. Do not measure the delay, do not look at the clock. Time has no authority over miracles. Miracles operate on belief, not schedules. And when your assumption is pure, when you are inwardly convinced, the outer will bend. This is not performance. This is revelation. When you act as if, you are not pretending, you are unveiling the truth of what is already done in the unseen. You are not waiting on the miracle. The miracle is waiting on you, on your decision, on your assumption, on your embodiment. Miracles are not distant. They are drawn to the one who becomes the living vibration of their desire. So today, walk differently, think differently, feel differently, act as if you are already in possession of your answered prayer. Because in truth, you are the magnet, the miracle is drawn, and nothing can stop the one who dares to believe it is already so. Your inner world creates your outer world. Miracles begin in imagination before they appear in form. This is not poetry. It is not metaphor. It is a law, one that governs the very fabric of your reality. You walk through a world that is, moment by moment, mirroring the content of your own consciousness. Look around, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. And you will see that every circumstance, every relationship, every joy or conflict is a reflection of something long accepted within. Before a miracle is seen, it is felt. Before it touches your hands, it must take root in your mind. Your imagination is not some idle playground for fantasy. It is the womb of creation itself. Everything that has ever come into your life, whether welcome or unwanted, first appeared as a thought, a belief, an assumption. You may not have been conscious of it at the time, but the seeds were sown in the silence of your inner world. That is the power you carry. That is the truth you must awaken to. Most live backwards, reacting to what they see, responding to what already is, and wondering why nothing changes. They wait for evidence before they believe. But those who understand the deeper law, the invisible design of reality, they do not wait. They do not ask the world for permission to believe. They feel the thing fulfilled within, and by that sacred feeling, they shape what the world must become. You are not a passive observer, you are the author. You are not at the mercy of circumstance unless you believe you are. The world of form, of material, is the echo. The real sound is made within. Your imagination is not a toy. It is divine instruction. When you dwell in an image of lack, fear, or defeat, you are handing the world the blueprint for your next experience. But when you dwell in love, in wealth, in joy, even when appearances say otherwise, you are planting seeds that must bloom. Miracles are not found, they are realized. They emerge through faith in things not yet seen, and they take shape according to your inner acceptance. Ask yourself, what are you imagining daily? What silent stories do you rehearse? What emotional tones do you dwell in? Because these are not meaningless habits, they are creative acts. They are decisions that the unseen responds to without fail. The world cannot give you what you deny yourself in imagination. You cannot hope for peace while indulging thoughts of war. You cannot ask for abundance while secretly entertaining poverty in your mind. You must first become the version of yourself who has already received. See it, feel it, believe it not as hope but as fact, and hold it even in the silence, even in the delay. This is the way of miracles, not through effort but through alignment. Not by chasing, but by embodying. Not by begging, but by assuming. The moment you make peace with your desire and see it as already yours within, the outer world begins to rearrange itself. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time. The right people will be drawn, the needed resources will flow. But it is not chance, it is not luck, it is the law. The outer must follow the inner. So go within, make your home there. Plant miracles in the garden of imagination, nourish them with conviction, and let the world, in its perfect timing, reflect the truth you already carry inside. Because the miracle was never out there, it was always in you. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is how you become aligned with the miraculous. The secret is not in effort, nor in striving, nor in waiting. The secret is in the assumption, the inner acceptance that what you desire is already yours. Not in theory, not in imagination alone, but in feeling. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between what is dreamed and what becomes real. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to live as though the desire is no longer a hope, but a present reality. You do not simply think about what you want. You feel from it. You move as the person who already possesses it. You breathe differently. You walk differently. There is a quiet confidence, a stillness that settles within you because you are no longer yearning, you are receiving. Most wait for the outer world to justify their inner belief. They say, once it comes, I'll be happy. Once I see it, I'll believe. But that is not the way of miracles. That is the way of delay. Creation does not respond to the external plea, but to the inner state. It is only when you feel the joy, the peace, the love of your fulfilled desire now that you draw it to you. You must become it within before it appears without. This is not pretending. This is not lying to yourself. This is alignment. It is truth beyond the senses. Your senses report what has been, not what is becoming. The feeling you hold in consciousness again and again is what molds the fabric of your reality. To assume the feeling is to step into a higher dimension, to visit the place where your desire already exists, and to bring a piece of that world back with you. Imagine this. If your desire were fulfilled this very moment, how would you feel? Go there. Not once, not twice, but habitually. Carry that feeling with you as you move through the ordinary. Let it become the atmosphere of your being. Your mind may question. The world may seem unchanged, but something unseen is moving. The unseen is always moved by feeling, deep, persistent, unwavering feeling. To assume is not to wish, it is to decide. It is to inhabit a state, mentally and emotionally, so completely that the world must conform. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for proof. You are assuming, taking on the identity of the one who has, the one who is, and in doing so, you awaken the miraculous. Many people ask how to manifest quickly. The answer is always the same. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled and refuse to depart from it. Do not concern yourself with how or when. That is not your domain. Your task is to feel the end result now, to rehearse the inner satisfaction, to dwell in the joy of its completion. What you feel, you feed. What you dwell in, you draw. If doubt arises, return to the feeling. If fear knocks, return again. This is a discipline of the soul. To remain loyal to the unseen truth in the face of visible contradiction. Miracles happen when you refuse to lower yourself to the level of appearances and instead remain fixed in the unseen victory. Everything begins with feeling. Everything begins within. If you can see it and feel it within and remain faithful to that internal experience, life will shape itself accordingly. You will find doors opening, paths clearing, circumstances aligning, but all of it began not with action, not with effort, but with assumption. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the signal you send to the universe. It says, "This is who I am now." And once you become it within, the world must bring it forth without. Not by accident, not by chance, but by law. Assume it now, feel it now, and let the miraculous unfold. Belief is not hope. Belief is inner knowing, a silent certainty that reshapes reality. Hope waits. Hope wonders. Hope looks to the outside for signs, for evidence, for confirmation that what is desired might one day come. But belief is different. Belief does not beg. It does not plead. It stands tall in the unseen and declares, "It is done." Belief is not fragile, wavering with every change in circumstance. It is rooted in the invisible, unshaken by what the eyes see or the ears hear. It is not born of logic or proof, but of inner conviction. You do not need to convince the world, you need only convince yourself. For once you believe, truly, deeply, without contradiction, the outer world must yield. Reality bends to belief, not the other way around. Your inner state dictates your external experience. What you hold to be true in consciousness, what you accept without question, begins to form the pattern by which life unfolds around you. This inner knowing is not loud, it doesn't shout. It doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly beneath the surface like a deep current, shaping everything in its path. You may not see the movement at first. The world may still appear as it was, but when belief is fully assumed, not wished, not desired, but accepted, the shift has already begun. The outcome is sealed. The seed is planted. To believe is to know before you see. It is to feel something so real within that the absence of it in the outer world feels almost like a mistake. You walk, you speak, you think as though it already exists, because in your inner world it does. And since your inner world is the cause of your outer world, it is only a matter of time before what is known inwardly becomes manifest outwardly. Many confuse belief with effort. They think if they work harder, if they speak affirmations louder, if they repeat something enough times, belief will come. But belief is not forced. It is not a product of repetition alone. It arises when you let go of the doubt, when you stop needing proof, and simply accept that what you desire is already yours. Not someday, now. Even if you cannot touch it yet, belief allows you to touch it in consciousness. This kind of belief is unbothered by delay. It doesn't ask, where is it? It doesn't check for results. It rests, it knows. It is the quiet power behind all true creation. It does not panic when things appear contrary. It does not collapse under challenge. It remains still, confident in the unseen law that governs all things, that the inner shapes the outer, that what is felt to be true must eventually take form. You do not need to understand how. You do not need to chase, manipulate, or control. You need only believe, which is to say, to live from the end, to see yourself already where you want to be, and to stay loyal to that vision no matter what appearances say. This loyalty to the unseen is the greatest act of faith, and it is faith that moves the invisible hand that arranges miracles. So if you seek change, seek first to believe, not casually, not once in a while, but with unwavering inner certainty. Know what you want, feel it as yours, live as if it is already so. That belief, that silent knowing will do more for you than any action born of doubt ever could. It will make the way where there was no way. It will draw to you what no effort alone can achieve. Belief does not wait for permission. It creates. It is the unseen architect of destiny. And once it is claimed fully within, life has no choice but to obey. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are conscious of being. Desire alone does not create. Wishing for something, even intensely, is not enough. The universe is not moved by wants, it is moved by identity. It mirrors what you are, not what you hope to become. This is the great secret, that the world outside you is nothing more than a reflection of your own state of consciousness. To want something is to acknowledge its absence, and in acknowledging its absence, you create more of the same. You may say, I want love, I want wealth, I want peace. But if your inner state is one of lack, of waiting, of need, then that is what life will continue to echo back. You cannot stand in the place of longing and receive fulfillment. You must become the fulfillment. You must rise in consciousness to the level of your desire and claim it as already yours. Consciousness is the one and only reality, what you are conscious of being, not just occasionally but consistently, forms the blueprint of your life. You may want abundance, but if you feel poor, if you speak from struggle, if you move through the world with the heaviness of limitation, you are identifying as someone without, and so life will match you there. Not because it is cruel, but because it is lawful. The law is simple. You must be before you can see. You must first embody the version of yourself that already has the thing you desire. That is how you shift your reality. Not by chasing, not by striving, but by being. Being in this sense does not mean pretending. It means aligning your feelings, your thoughts, your expectations with the version of yourself that already possesses the thing you seek. If you desire love, you must become love. You must treat yourself with the tenderness and worthiness you long to receive. If you desire success, you must feel successful now, not because of your bank account, but because you know success is a state of mind first. If you want peace, you must stop identifying with chaos. You cannot continue to affirm problems and expect solutions to manifest. You must step into the state where the problem has already been resolved. Many say, but how do I do this when my reality is so different from what I desire? And the answer is, you do it within. You begin in imagination. You cultivate the feeling of the end. You assume the role. You make your inner world more real than the outer, and you hold to that feeling day after day until it becomes your new identity. And once it becomes who you are, the outer world will reorganize itself to reflect that change. It is not enough to say affirmations while feeling otherwise. It is not enough to visualize once and return to fear. You must become saturated with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must dwell in it so persistently that there is no longer room for contradiction. That is how consciousness works. It impresses itself upon the formless substance of life and brings into shape whatever image it holds most dominantly. Your outer world is always showing you who you are being. If you wish to change the outer, change the inner. Begin by observing what you are consistently feeling, thinking, and expecting, not from a place of judgment, but from understanding. And once you know where your consciousness resides, you can begin to elevate it, not by force, but by choice. You simply choose again and again to return to the state of being that matches the life you desire. You do not need to chase anything. The moment you become it within, it begins moving toward you. Not by effort, but by alignment. You attract not by wanting, but by being. And what you are conscious of being is what the world must reveal. Every miracle is already yours in the unseen. You must walk as if it were visible. There is nothing you seek that does not already exist. The moment a desire is born within you, its fulfillment is born as well, not in the world of facts, but in the unseen realm of consciousness. This realm is not imagination in the childish sense, but imagination as divine blueprint, as the true creative power of life. Every miracle, every breakthrough, every answered prayer begins there, waiting not for the world to change, but for you to change your awareness of it. Most people live as if the unseen is unreal and the seen is the only truth. They wait to see it before they believe it. But that is not how creation works. You do not see it and then believe. You believe it and then you see it. The unseen must be accepted as more real than the current facts, or you will stay trapped in cycles that repeat not because you are unlucky, but because your inner state remains unchanged. To walk as if the miracle were visible means to carry yourself in faith, not as blind belief, but as inner knowing. It means to align your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions with the truth that what you desire has already been granted, not in some distant future, not if you prove yourself worthy, but now, in the eternal now. Your miracle is already complete, but only to the degree that you claim it as real. The unseen is more powerful than the seen because it is the cause, while the seen is only the effect. To dwell only in what your five senses can perceive is to live in the past. For all that appears is a reflection of former states of consciousness. But the moment you assume the state of the miracle, the world begins to shift. You may not see it at first, but the shift is already in motion, like a seed sprouting underground before it breaks through the surface. So how do you walk as if it were visible? You begin by choosing to feel the end, the outcome as already complete. If you knew that your healing had occurred, how would you speak? If your abundance was secured, how would you walk into a room? If the love you seek were already beside you, how would you feel waking up in the morning? These are not empty questions. These are the keys to stepping into the vibration of your miracle. You do not beg for what is already yours. You do not plead with the universe. When you understand that the universe responds to identity, not desperation, you must shift from I want to I am, from I hope to I know. When you live from that state, you do not chase outcomes, you embody them. You become the person who already possesses the result. And in doing so, you draw it near effortlessly. Doubt may come, appearances may contradict, but you must remain loyal to the unseen. That is the test. To persist in the assumption, even when nothing around you supports it. To speak as though the answer has already arrived. To act as though the way has already been made clear. This is not delusion. This is divine discipline. It is how the invisible becomes visible, how the intangible becomes tangible. Your miracle is not coming, it is already here. But you must rise to meet it in consciousness. You must claim it in imagination and carry yourself as one who already possesses it. Speak the words, feel the feelings, take the steps. Not because you are pretending, but because you know a greater truth than the one the world offers you. The unseen becomes seen when you stop waiting and start being. Be the version of yourself who already received. Be the one who walks in gratitude before the evidence appears. Be the one who trusts that what was done in spirit must appear in form. And soon enough, what was once only imagined will become undeniable reality, because you had the courage to walk as if it were already so. The unseen responds to your dominant assumption. Live as if the miracle has already occurred. All creation begins in the invisible. The world you experience with your five senses is not the cause but the effect. What appears before you is merely the echo of what has been impressed upon the unseen realm. And this realm, which many dismiss as fantasy or wishful thinking, is the birthplace of every miracle. It does not respond to momentary desires or fleeting thoughts. It responds only to your dominant assumption, the state of consciousness you occupy most consistently. Your dominant assumption is not what you hope for when you are feeling inspired or when things are going well. It is the belief you return to when you're alone with your thoughts, when fear creeps in, when the facts of life seem to contradict your desires. It is your internal compass, the self-concept you've accepted as true. And from that internal state, your entire outer world is constructed. The unseen does not argue with you, it simply reflects. If you desire a miracle, whether in health, in finances, in relationships, or in your sense of purpose, you must first assume it has already occurred. You must make that assumption so natural, so familiar, that it feels more real to you than anything your physical eyes can see. That is the key. The unseen responds not to what you say occasionally, but to what you are, what you feel to be true at the core of your being. Living as if the miracle has already occurred is not pretending. It is not fantasy or self-deception. It is spiritual alignment. It is the bold declaration that inner reality is greater than outer circumstance. When you assume the feeling of the fulfilled desire, you are not wishing, you are creating. You are laying the groundwork for the unseen to crystallize into form. So how does one live in this assumption? You feel it. You enter the state of your wish fulfilled and you dwell there. You imagine how life looks and feels now that your miracle has come to pass. You move through your day with the calm confidence that comes from knowing it is already done. You let go of waiting, because waiting implies it's not yet yours. You stop checking for evidence, because one who knows does not need proof. Second, you speak from it. Your words carry creative power. If you continue to speak of problems, delays, and lack, you are reinforcing a reality you no longer wish to inhabit. But when you speak from the state of completion, when your words match the world you have already claimed in consciousness, you solidify that reality in the unseen. Eventually it must appear. Third, you act from it. You begin to carry yourself like someone who has already received. You make decisions as if the outcome were guaranteed. You no longer act out of fear or desperation, but from peace, clarity, and assurance. And though the facts may not have changed yet, your inner world has, and the outer must follow. There is no power in waiting for conditions to change before you believe. There is only delay. But when you dare to assume, when you choose to live in the end, to embody your desire, the unseen begins to shift. Circumstances, people, and events will move to match your inner state. And it will feel miraculous not because something was created out of nothing, but because you aligned with what was always available. The unseen is never withholding. It is always responding, faithfully, precisely, and without judgment. It gives you not what you beg for, but what you accept as true. The moment your dominant assumption becomes one of already having, already being, your miracle is no longer distant, it becomes inevitable. So, stop asking whether it will happen, assume that it already has, and live, speak, and move from that sacred place. For the unseen responds only to the truth you live in your heart. And when that truth is one of fulfillment, life will unfold to prove it. The truth is simple yet profound. You are not here to chase miracles, but to awaken to the reality that they already exist within you. The world you experience is not something happening to you, but something flowing from you. As you shift your dominant assumptions, as you live from the end, as you walk in the feeling of already having, the unseen begins to rearrange itself in your favor. You do not need to strive or struggle. You need only to remember who you are, a living magnet for miracles, a divine creator clothed in human form. What you assume consistently becomes your world. What you believe silently becomes your life. So dare to believe in the invisible, dare to walk by faith and not by sight, and most importantly, dare to become the one who already holds the very thing they once hoped for. Now, live boldly, act confidently, and speak as though your miracle is already here. Because in truth, it is. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, strength is not always what we expect it to be. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room or dominating others through sheer force. True strength is a quiet, unshakable resolve that anchors you, no matter how turbulent the world around you becomes. Et. The strongest among us have one thing in common: they own their lives. They don't waste time blaming circumstances, other people, or the universe for their struggles. Instead, they ask, what can I do to change this? Strength begins where excuses end. It takes immense courage to walk alone, to step away from the crowd and follow a path that feels right for you, even when no one else understands. Solitude isn't a weakness, it's a crucible where clarity, creativity, and authenticity are forged. Saying no can feel like a small rebellion, but it's one of the strongest acts of self-respect. You understand that your time, energy, and emotional space are finite, and you guard them wisely. This isn't selfishness, it's wisdom. The strongest people know that pain and struggle are not barriers to be avoided, but bridges to be crossed. Whether it's learning a new skill, overcoming a loss, or facing a fear, you understand that discomfort is the currency of growth. When faced with adversity, you don't crumble. Whether it's a difficult decision, a harsh critique, or an unforeseen crisis, you respond with grace and composure. Strength is staying calm when others are losing control. You don't compromise on your principles to fit in or gain approval. This can mean standing up for what you believe in, even when it's unpopular. True strength is living in alignment with your values, regardless of external pressures. Strength is refusing to give up, even when the odds seem insurmountable. You may feel tired, discouraged, or even broken, but you continue to believe in the possibility of a better future. Hope is not naive, it's the fuel that sustains your strength. In a world that often rewards bravado and superficial displays of power, remember that true strength runs deeper. It's a quiet, resilient force that shapes your character and defines your legacy. So if you recognize yourself in these signs, take heart. You are far stronger than you know, and that strength is the foundation upon which you will build an extraordinary life. True strength is a quality often misunderstood. Many equate it with loud declarations, dramatic gestures, or imposing dominance over others. Yet genuine strength is far more subtle and profound. It resides in a quiet, steady presence, a poise that emanates from self-control, resilience, and the ability to face life's adversities with dignity and grace. At its core, strength is not about overpowering others or shouting over the noise, it's about mastering oneself. The person who remains calm in chaos, who can hold their emotions in check when everything around them seems to be spiraling out of control, embodies true power. This isn't a suppression of feelings, but rather a mastery of them, a conscious choice to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. It is the kind of strength that chooses silence when words might wound, or patience when frustration beckons. Such control requires a deep reservoir of inner fortitude. Resilience is another cornerstone of strength, and it too often operates in quiet ways. Life is unpredictable, throwing challenges, disappointments, and heartbreaks our way. While some crumble under the weight of adversity, others quietly pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and move forward. This doesn't mean they don't feel pain or doubt, it means they choose to persevere despite it. Their strength lies in their ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow from life's trials without allowing those trials to define or defeat them. Dignity is perhaps the most visible expression of this quiet strength. It is seen in the person who carries themselves with grace, even when facing criticism, failure, or loss. They do not need to shout their achievements or broadcast their struggles. Their actions and demeanor speak volumes on their behalf. Such dignity is not rooted in arrogance, but in a deep understanding of their own worth, a worth that doesn't depend on external validation. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows who they are and refuses to let circumstances dictate their value. This kind of strength is often misunderstood because it doesn't demand attention, it doesn't seek applause or recognition, it isn't about being the loudest voice in the room or the most visible presence in a crowd. Instead, it is the steady anchor in a storm, the calm amidst chaos, the person who remains standing when others have fallen. And it is this quiet nature of true strength that makes it so powerful. It is unshakable because it doesn't rely on external factors, it is rooted entirely within. In a world that often celebrates loudness and bravado, this kind of strength may seem understated or even invisible. But it is precisely this quiet quality that allows it to endure. Loud strength can crumble when it is tested because it depends on outward displays to sustain itself. Quiet strength, on the other hand, grows stronger under pressure, drawing from its internal foundation. True strength is not about domination or showmanship. It is about resilience, self-control, and dignity. It is the quiet force that sustains individuals through life's challenges, enabling them to navigate difficulties with grace and emerge not just unbroken, but even stronger. Taking responsibility is one of the most empowering actions a person can take. It is the foundation upon which a strong, resilient life is built. The strongest individuals are those who embrace the reality that their lives are shaped by their choices, decisions, and actions. And they refuse to play the victim or blame others for their circumstances. Instead, they acknowledge their role in their experiences, good or bad, and take charge of creating the outcomes they desire. At its core, taking responsibility is about ownership. It means recognizing that while you may not control everything that happens to you, you always have control over how you respond. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable, but your power lies in your ability to choose your attitude and actions in the face of those challenges. The strongest individuals understand this distinction. They do not waste energy lamenting the unfairness of life or waiting for someone else to solve their problems. Instead, they ask, what can I do to move forward? When you take responsibility for your life, you shift from a mindset of helplessness to one of empowerment. Blaming others or external circumstances may feel comforting in the short term, as it absolves you of fault or effort. However, this mindset also strips you of your agency, leaving you at the mercy of forces beyond your control. In contrast, owning your role in your life, both the successes and the failures, gives you the ability to affect change. It allows you to see setbacks not as permanent defeats, but as opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow. This mindset is not about self-blame or unnecessary guilt. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong. It is about being honest with yourself, identifying where your choices or actions might have contributed to a situation and committing to doing better in the future. It is an act of courage to face your flaws, mistakes, and limitations without defensiveness or denial. And this honesty is not only liberating but also transformative. It allows you to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable with each experience. The refusal to play the victim is another hallmark of strong individuals. When you adopt a victim mentality, you give away your power. You become stuck in a narrative where life happens to you, and you have no control or agency. This mindset breeds resentment, frustration, and stagnation. Conversely, when you take responsibility, you reclaim your power. You recognize that while you may not have chosen your circumstances, you can always choose how to navigate them. This shift from victimhood to ownership is profoundly freeing. Owning your life also means embracing the consequences of your choices. It means acknowledging that your actions have ripple effects and being willing to accept the outcomes they produce. Strong individuals do not shy away from accountability, they welcome it. They understand that accountability is not a burden but a pathway to growth and improvement. By accepting responsibility for their actions, they build trust, credibility, and self-respect. Taking responsibility is not about perfection, it is about empowerment. It is about recognizing that you are the author of your story, capable of shaping your path and creating the life you envision. It is a commitment to living with intention, integrity, and courage. By refusing to play the victim and taking full ownership of your life, you unlock the strength to overcome challenges, embrace opportunities, and thrive. Standing alone is one of the most profound tests of character a person can face. It is a powerful declaration of independence and a demonstration of inner fortitude. While humans are inherently social creatures, there are moments in life when the path forward requires solitude, a willingness to walk alone, even when it feels uncomfortable or isolating. Those who possess the strength to stand alone exhibit a rare kind of courage and self-reliance that defines true character. To stand alone often means to make choices that align with your values and convictions, even when those choices are unpopular or misunderstood. It requires the ability to tune out external noise, criticism, and doubt and remain steadfast in your beliefs. This is no easy feat in a world that often prioritizes conformity and seeks validation through collective agreement. Yet the person who can chart their own course, despite the lack of external approval or companionship, demonstrates remarkable inner strength. Walking a lonely path can arise from various circumstances. Perhaps it is the decision to pursue a career, lifestyle, or dream that others deem unconventional. It may be the choice to leave a toxic relationship, even if it means being alone for a while. Or it could be standing firm in your principles when everyone around you is compromising theirs. Whatever the situation, standing alone is an act of bravery. It requires not only self-belief, but also the resilience to face doubt, loneliness, and fear without losing your sense of purpose. Independence is a key aspect of standing alone. True independence is not about rejecting others or isolating yourself. Rather, it is about cultivating a strong sense of self that is not overly reliant on external validation. People who stand alone do so because they trust their own judgment and inner compass. They are not swayed by the opinions of others because they have taken the time to reflect on their values and priorities. It is self-awareness and confidence provide the foundation for their independence. Standing alone also nurtures personal growth. Solitude offers the opportunity for deep introspection, clarity, and self-discovery. It allows you to confront your fears, challenge your assumptions, and strengthen your resolve. In the absence of external distractions, you can focus on understanding who you are and what truly matters to you. This process of self-discovery is often uncomfortable, but it is also transformative. It builds the kind of resilience and self-assurance that cannot be shaken by life's challenges. Standing alone can inspire others. When people see someone willing to take a stand, even in isolation, it serves as a powerful reminder of the strength of individuality and the importance of integrity. Your courage to walk a lonely path can encourage others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of empowerment. Standing alone is not about rejecting connection or refusing help when needed. It is about knowing when to rely on yourself and when to seek support. It is the ability to navigate life with the understanding that you are capable of weathering storms on your own, yet open to collaboration and community when it aligns with your values and goals. The ability to stand alone reflects a profound sense of character. It reveals a person who is unafraid to live authentically, pursue their dreams, and uphold their principles, even when the journey feels isolating. This independence and inner fortitude form the backbone of true strength, allowing individuals to live with purpose, resilience, and unwavering self-respect. Growth often emerges from the moments we least desire, those filled with discomfort, uncertainty, and even pain. Personal strength is not born in comfort zones or in the safety of familiar routines. It is forged in the crucible of challenge, where we are pushed beyond our limits and required to confront the unknown. While these moments may feel overwhelming, they are the very experiences that shape our character, refine our abilities, and prepare us for greater opportunities ahead. Discomfort forces us to face truths about ourselves and our circumstances. It strips away illusions and compels us to confront our fears, weaknesses, and vulnerabilities. This process is neither easy nor pleasant, but it is necessary. Without discomfort, we might remain stagnant, unwilling to question our assumptions or challenge our limitations. Growth requires us to step into situations that demand more of us than we think we can give, forcing us to adapt, learn, and ultimately transform. Pain, too, plays a pivotal role in the process of growth. Emotional and physical pain remind us of our humanity and our capacity for resilience. Pain often signals that something within us or around us needs to change, whether it is a belief, a habit, or a relationship. In the midst of pain, it is tempting to retreat, avoid, or numb ourselves to the experience. However, those who embrace pain as a teacher find themselves emerging stronger and more self-aware on the other side. Each painful experience becomes a lesson, a stepping stone toward a more profound understanding of life and ourselves. The willingness to step into the unknown is another hallmark of growth through discomfort. The unknown is inherently uncomfortable because it defies our need for control and predictability. Yet it is within the unknown that we discover our true potential. When we take risks and venture into uncharted territory, we expand our horizons and uncover strengths we never knew we had. This willingness to face uncertainty is not about recklessness, it is about courage, the courage to trust that we are capable of navigating whatever challenges come our way. Growth through discomfort also teaches us humility and gratitude. When we are tested by life's trials, we come to appreciate the strength and resilience we develop along the way. We learn to value the small victories and the lessons gained from failure. These experiences remind us that growth is not linear, nor is it easy, but it is always worthwhile. Each challenge we face and overcome deepens our sense of purpose and enriches our understanding of what it means to live fully. The path of discomfort is not one we choose lightly, but it is one that leads to profound transformation. It demands perseverance, patience, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. It asks us to let go of old patterns and step boldly into new possibilities. While the journey may be fraught with difficulty, it is also filled with moments of revelation and triumph. Personal strength is the result of enduring and learning from life's discomforts. Each challenge faced, each pain endured, and each risk taken adds another layer to our resilience and our capacity for growth. These moments remind us that while discomfort is temporary, the growth it fosters lasts a lifetime. Through discomfort, we become not only stronger but also wiser, more compassionate, and more deeply connected to our own potential. Boundaries are a profound reflection of self-respect and personal strength. They are the invisible lines we draw to protect our time, energy, and emotional well-being. A strong person understands the importance of setting and maintaining boundaries, even when it is uncomfortable or met with resistance. This ability to say no, to prioritize one's own needs without guilt, and to stand firm in the face of pressure is a hallmark of true inner strength and self-respect. Establishing boundaries begins with self-awareness. It requires an honest assessment of what you need to feel safe, valued, and respected in your interactions and commitments. A strong person recognizes that they are responsible for their own well-being. They understand that saying yes to everything and everyone is not sustainable and often leads to exhaustion, resentment, and diminished self-worth. Instead, they take the time to identify their limits and honor them, knowing that doing so is an act of self-care, not selfishness. Saying no can be one of the most difficult aspects of setting boundaries. It often involves disappointing others or facing conflict, which can feel uncomfortable or even intimidating. However, a strong person is willing to endure this discomfort because they understand that their energy and resources are finite. They recognize that every yes to someone else is a no to themselves, if it comes at the expense of their own needs and priorities. Strength lies in the ability to say no with grace and confidence, without feeling the need to over-explain or apologize excessively. Boundaries are not just about what we refuse, they are also about what we allow and cultivate. A strong person uses boundaries to create an environment that supports their growth, happiness, and peace of mind. They surround themselves with people who respect their limits and contribute positively to their lives. Conversely, they distance themselves from toxic relationships, unhealthy dynamics, and draining commitments. This ability to curate their surroundings reflects a deep sense of self-worth and a commitment to living authentically. Maintaining boundaries often requires vigilance and courage. Even when boundaries are clearly communicated, others may test or challenge them. A strong person stands firm in the face of such challenges, refusing to compromise their values or priorities for the sake of pleasing others. They understand that it is not their responsibility to manage others' reactions to their boundaries. Instead, they focus on what they can control: their own actions, choices, and communication. Boundaries also teach others how to treat us. By setting and enforcing limits, a strong person sends a clear message about what they will and will not tolerate. This fosters mutual respect and clarity in relationships, paving the way for healthier, more balanced interactions. Over time, those who respect boundaries are drawn closer, while those who do not naturally fall away, leaving room for more meaningful connections. Boundaries are an expression of self-respect. They demonstrate a recognition of one's own value and a commitment to preserving it. A strong person understands that protecting their energy and well-being is not only essential for their own happiness, but also enables them to show up more fully for others. By setting and maintaining boundaries, they create a life that reflects their priorities, values, and worth, a life grounded in strength, authenticity, and self-respect. Strength is not simply a measure of physical endurance or the ability to withstand adversity. True strength is deeply rooted in values, the guiding principles that shape our decisions, actions, and sense of purpose. When a person lives in alignment with their core values, they create a solid moral foundation that enables them to navigate life's challenges with integrity and resilience. This alignment provides clarity and purpose, acting as an anchor in even the most turbulent storms. Values are the compass that guides our lives. They represent what we hold most important: honesty, compassion, justice, courage, or perseverance, to name a few. Living in alignment with these principles means making choices that reflect our deepest beliefs, even when it is difficult or inconvenient. A person who prioritizes their values over immediate gratification or external pressures demonstrates remarkable strength. They are not swayed by fleeting trends, societal expectations, or the opinions of others because they are firmly grounded in what truly matters to them. This alignment creates a sense of inner peace and self-respect. When our actions align with our values, we experience a sense of authenticity and coherence. There is no internal conflict between who we are and what we do. This harmony fosters self-trust, which is an essential component of strength. A person who trusts themselves, who knows they will act in accordance with their values, regardless of the circumstances, exudes confidence and dependability. Living by one's values is not always easy. In fact, it often requires immense courage and resilience. There will be moments when upholding your principles demands sacrifice, whether it is speaking out against injustice, choosing the harder but more ethical path, or standing firm in the face of opposition. These moments test your character and commitment to your values. Yet they also build your strength, reinforcing the foundation upon which your life is built. Every time you choose to honor your principles, you reaffirm your integrity and grow more resilient. Values also provide a source of stability in times of uncertainty or hardship. Life's storms can shake us to our core, leaving us questioning our purpose and direction. In these moments, our values serve as a steady guide. They remind us of what is most important and help us make decisions that align with our true selves. A person rooted in their values does not crumble under pressure, because they have a clear sense of who they are and what they stand for. Living in alignment with values inspires others. People are drawn to those who live authentically and with conviction. Such individuals serve as role models, demonstrating that it is possible to remain true to oneself, even in the face of adversity. Their strength becomes a beacon, encouraging others to reflect on their own values and live with greater purpose and integrity. Strength rooted in values is enduring. It is not dependent on external circumstances, fleeting successes, or the approval of others. Instead, it is a deep, unshakable inner strength that comes from knowing you are living in accordance with your highest principles. This alignment provides the moral foundation to weather any storm, enabling you to face life's challenges with dignity, courage, and an unwavering sense of purpose. In conclusion, true strength is not found in the superficial displays of power or fleeting moments of dominance. It is a profound, enduring quality shaped by values, resilience, and authenticity. Strength is the quiet confidence to set boundaries, the courage to grow through discomfort, the integrity to live by deeply held principles, and the wisdom to stand alone when necessary. It is rooted in taking responsibility for our lives, protecting our energy, and embracing the transformative challenges that life inevitably brings. When we embody these traits, we cultivate not only a strong character, but also a life of meaning and purpose. Strength is not about perfection or invincibility, it is about perseverance, self-respect, and the unwavering commitment to becoming the best version of ourselves. Thank you for your time and for reflecting on these truths. May this journey of cultivating inner strength inspire and empower you to face life with grace and resilience.
Imagine standing at the edge of your current reality, looking into a life of limitless abundance. What if I told you that this transformation, this shift into wealth could begin right now, manifesting fully in just 3 days? You might wonder how that's possible, but let me assure you, it is not only possible, it is inevitable when you understand the simple truth that your reality bends to your consciousness. The wealth you desire is already here, waiting for you to claim it. You do not need to chase it, beg for it, or prove your worth to receive it. Your task is to align your inner state with that of the person who already has what they seek. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. What does your life look like 3 days from now, knowing you are wealthy? How do you feel? Hold on to that feeling, not as a wish, but as a fact. Say to yourself, it is done. Feel the joy, the ease, and the security as if your riches have already arrived. You do not need physical evidence to validate this truth. You are the evidence. The moment you shift your awareness to a state of abundance, the world will mirror it back to you. Do not concern yourself with how it will come. The universe has countless ways to bring about your wealth. Your only responsibility is to stay unwavering in your assumption of already having it. Be grateful today as though your desires have already materialized. Gratitude is not just a polite gesture. It is the bridge between your current reality and the one you are creating. If doubts arise, acknowledge them as passing shadows, powerless against the light of your conviction. Let your imagination be your guide, painting a vivid picture of prosperity and joy. Each day, act from that state of wealth. Speak, think, and behave as the version of yourself who has already received everything they desire. They will only call upon you when you recognize the truth in their desire. This is not a prediction, but a promise. In 3 days, watch as the doors to abundance swing wide open. Opportunities will find you, resources will flow effortlessly, and the world will rise to meet the richness you have claimed within yourself. Affirmations and resolutions for 2017 will be spoken by all, and your expectations must be lifted high every single day. You do not need permission to be wealthy. You need only claim it now and always. The abundance you seek is already yours. What you vividly imagine and accept as true holds the power to shape your reality. The outer world is merely a reflection of your inner state, and every experience you encounter stems from the assumptions you hold within your mind. Your imagination is not a tool reserved for fantasy or idle thought. It is the foundation upon which your life is built. The truth is simple yet profound. If you can see it in your mind and feel it as real, you will inevitably see it manifest in your external world. Many people underestimate the power of imagination, dismissing it as wishful thinking. They believe that tangible actions alone drive success, unaware that every action is a byproduct of the mind's unseen creative power. Every invention, achievement, or transformation began as an idea, a spark within someone's imagination. Before anything exists physically, it must first be constructed mentally. This truth places immense creative power in your hands, waiting for you to wield it consciously and deliberately. It uses opportunities for active pursuit. It guides you and uplifts you to new heights. It produces imaginative expression. To harness this power, you must understand that imagination works through feelings and assumptions rather than mere intellectual visualization. It is not enough to simply picture wealth, success, or happiness. You must embody the feeling of already having those things as if they are a present reality. This mental state aligns you vibrationally with the life you desire, compelling circumstances to conform to your dominant inner vision. When you feel yourself as wealthy, even before physical evidence appears, your world begins to organize itself to reflect that assumption. You now begin to see doubt and fear are the only barriers that can block this process. When you focus on what is lacking or question how your desires will manifest, you disrupt the creative process. These negative emotions send conflicting signals to your subconscious mind, which faithfully responds by perpetuating lack and limitation. But when you boldly claim the reality you seek and sustain that conviction, regardless of outer appearances, your assumption will harden into fact. The key is persistence. The mind naturally gravitates toward familiar thought patterns, often rooted in scarcity and limitation. It requires conscious effort to redirect your imagination toward abundance and success consistently. Daily practice strengthens your ability to hold this inner vision unwaveringly, even in the face of external contradictions. Visualization, affirmations, and meditation are effective techniques for cultivating this focused awareness. Mindfulness and meditation can make a tremendous difference in the visualization process. The more vividly and consistently you imagine your desired state, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. It is important to note that imagination is not bound by logical constraints. Your current circumstances do not dictate what is possible for you. The limitations perceived by your senses are temporary and malleable. The only true limitations are those you impose upon yourself through rigid thinking and disbelief. When you liberate your imagination from these constraints, you unlock infinite possibilities and step into a world where anything is achievable. Inspiration causes us to let go of all defense mechanisms and go with impunity. When you liberate your imagination from these constraints, you unlock infinite possibilities and step into a world where anything is achievable. Consider those who have defied seemingly insurmountable odds to achieve greatness. They did not allow external circumstances to define their destiny. Instead, they chose to see beyond what appeared to be real and imagined a new reality for themselves. Their unwavering belief and imaginative vision propelled them toward success, transforming their lives in extraordinary ways. You possess that same potential. Begin now by imagining the life you desire with clarity and conviction. Do not wait for the outer world to give you permission to dream. Assume that what you seek is already yours. Act, speak, and think from that state of being. Feel the joy, confidence, and fulfillment of having your desires realized. As you persist in this practice, your imagination will become the guiding force that shapes your experiences and molds your future. Trust in this process. Imagination creates reality, and when you understand and apply this principle, you become the architect of your destiny. Everything you seek is within reach, waiting for you to see it in your mind and claim it as your truth. The world will reflect your vision back to you, for it can only mirror what you imagine to be real. The external world is a mirror of your internal state. Whatever you hold within, whether thoughts of abundance or lack, joy or fear, will inevitably manifest in your experiences. It may seem as though external circumstances dictate your emotions and responses, but the truth is far more empowering. Your internal state shapes the world around you. When you learn to shift your inner state to one of richness, abundance, and fulfillment, the outer world will align to reflect that reality. The transformation begins within and radiates outward. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for external validation before allowing themselves to feel abundant or successful. They believe they need a bank account overflowing with money, a prestigious title, or tangible markers of achievement to experience the emotions associated with success. However, this approach places them in a reactive state, constantly dependent on circumstances beyond their control. Instead, the key to lasting abundance is to feel rich within before seeing external evidence of wealth. This shift in focus demands that you detach from the appearances of your current situation. You must rise above the noise of doubt and limitation that the physical world often presents. The external world may suggest lack, but that does not mean you must accept it as your truth. Your inner state is sovereign. When you choose to feel wealthy and secure, regardless of appearances, you harness a creative power that shapes the material world. Feeling rich within is not simply about imagining piles of money or material possessions. It is about cultivating a state of being that resonates with abundance. It involves embodying a sense of gratitude, joy, and peace, knowing that all your needs are already met. This internal wealth goes beyond financial gain. It encompasses a life filled with purpose, fulfillment, and satisfaction. When you operate from this state, wealth in all forms flows to you naturally and effortlessly. You might wonder how to cultivate such a state when external conditions seem bleak. The answer lies in your ability to focus your attention deliberately. Where your attention goes, energy flows. If you dwell on lack, you reinforce that experience in your life. But if you consistently direct your attention toward abundance and possibility, you pave the way for those realities to unfold. Start by acknowledging the abundance already present in your life, no matter how small it may seem. Gratitude amplifies what you focus on and signals to your subconscious mind that you already live in abundance. Visualization is a powerful tool to help you shift your inner state. Take time each day to close your eyes and imagine yourself living your ideal life. See yourself as already successful, happy, and wealthy. Feel the emotions associated with that reality: joy, confidence, and peace. These emotions are your most potent signals to the universe, calling forth experiences that match them. As you consistently practice this, your inner state begins to shift, and the outer world responds in kind. Remember, affirmations can also reinforce this internal shift. Speak words of abundance to yourself daily, such as "I am wealthy, I live a life of abundance," or "money flows to me effortlessly." These affirmations may feel strange initially if they contradict your current reality, but repetition and belief will rewire your subconscious mind over time. Another key to sustaining this state is letting go of resistance. Do not cling to fear, doubt, or the need to control how your desires manifest. Trust in the process and release attachment to specific outcomes. The universe operates with perfect timing and intelligence. Your job is not to figure out the how, but to maintain a state of unwavering belief and expectation. When you cultivate a rich inner state, your actions will naturally align with abundance. You will find yourself making decisions from a place of confidence rather than desperation, seizing opportunities that resonate with your inner wealth. Your external reality cannot help but mirror this internal transformation. The shift begins within. When you feel rich inside, the world outside will rise to meet that vision. Feel abundant now and watch as your external world transforms to reflect the wealth you hold within. The power of assumption lies in your ability to claim and embody a desired state as though it is already yours, regardless of what your current circumstances may suggest. This principle may seem counterintuitive to those who believe that outer reality determines inner experience. Yet the truth is that your assumptions shape your world, and not the other way around. By assuming the feeling of wealth as already yours, you create the conditions for it to manifest in your life. When you assume something, you accept it as true without needing external proof. In the context of creating a life of abundance, this means adopting the mindset and emotional state of someone who is already wealthy. You do not wait for your bank account to reflect millions before feeling secure or joyful. Instead, you cultivate these feelings now, knowing that your external reality will align with your inner conviction over time. Whoever considers conviction and follows it with all their heart, eternal conviction, is wealthy even in the short term as well as the long term. Remember, we are now living in a belief universe, and your belief. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to ignore current challenges. Rather, it is about consciously choosing to live from a place of belief rather than lack. One of the most significant aspects of assumption is the emotional state you maintain. Feeling is the secret ingredient that gives your assumption power. It is not enough to mentally declare yourself wealthy if your feelings contradict that declaration. Your emotions must harmonize with your thoughts, creating a state of inner alignment. When you assume the feeling of wealth is already yours, you generate a sense of confidence, peace, and gratitude that naturally attracts corresponding external conditions. And this process requires persistence and discipline. The mind has been conditioned to react to appearances and may resist adopting a new assumption that seems contrary to present circumstances. However, repetition and consistent practice will rewire your subconscious mind to accept this new state as your truth. The more vividly you imagine yourself as already wealthy, and the more deeply you feel it, the more real it becomes within you. As your inner state transforms, so too will your outer experiences. Visualization is a powerful tool in this process. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living a life of financial abundance. See yourself engaging in the activities you would pursue if wealth were already yours. What does your environment look like? How do you feel? Immerse yourself fully in this mental picture, allowing your emotions to match the joy, freedom, and security of that vision. The key is to feel as though you are living that reality now, not projecting it into some distant future. You must act. Affirmations can further reinforce your assumption of wealth. Speak statements such as, "I am abundant," "I attract wealth effortlessly," or "Financial success is my natural state." These affirmations, when repeated with conviction and feeling, help to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Over time, your mind begins to accept these affirmations as fact, guiding your actions and decisions in alignment with abundance. But it is also essential to release attachment to how or when your assumption will manifest externally. Trust in the process and remain confident that your assumption, when sustained, will solidify into your reality. The universe operates with precision and intelligence, bringing forth opportunities, resources, and experiences that align with your dominant state of being. Your job is not to micromanage this process, but to remain steadfast in your assumption and open to receiving. In 3001, he said, "I know nothing about the future. Whatever comes to me happens, but the things which doubt and fear are natural but must be consciously managed. When they arise, gently redirect your focus back to the feeling of having already achieved your desire. Remember that outer circumstances are transient and malleable. They do not define your potential or limit what you can create. You hold the creative power within your consciousness to reshape your world and make it as beautiful and wonderful as your mind can conceive and believe." Assuming the feeling of wealth is already yours places you in the driver's seat of your life. It allows you to transcend limiting circumstances and step into the reality you desire. The power of assumption is a reminder that creation begins within. What you assume to be true will become true, and the life of abundance you seek will unfold before you. Gratitude is a transformative force that aligns your inner state with the fulfillment of your desires. When you express thanks in advance, you signal to your mind and the universe that what you seek is already present in your life. This practice is not about wishful thinking or pretending. It is a deliberate act of creation, rooted in faith and awareness. By feeling and expressing gratitude as though your desires have already come to pass, you draw those very outcomes toward you with greater ease and certainty. The common approach to gratitude often ties it to external circumstances, being thankful only when something favorable occurs. While this reactive gratitude has value, it lacks the full creative power of proactive gratitude. When you thank the universe in advance for blessings yet unseen, you shift your mindset to one of expectation and belief. You are no longer hoping for your desire to manifest. You are acknowledging it as already done and expressing thanks for its presence in your life. Gratitude in advance cultivates a state of certainty and abundance. It changes your perception, making you more aware of opportunities and resources that may have otherwise gone unnoticed. By focusing on what you are thankful for even before it materializes, you train your mind to dwell on possibilities rather than limitations. This shift in focus activates a positive feedback loop where feelings of gratitude attract more experiences that inspire further gratitude. And now, the emotional resonance of gratitude is crucial in this process. It is not merely about repeating words of thanks, but truly feeling the joy, relief, and appreciation as though your desires have already manifested. This emotional alignment creates a powerful vibrational signal that communicates with your subconscious mind and the universe. When you live in a state of heartfelt gratitude, you become a magnet for the circumstances and conditions that match that energy. One effective practice to cultivate gratitude in advance is visualization combined with emotional immersion. Set aside quiet time each day to imagine your life with your desires fulfilled. Picture yourself living the reality you seek, whether it's financial abundance, vibrant health, or meaningful relationships. Feel the emotions that come with having what you desire. Let the joy, peace, and satisfaction wash over you. Then, express sincere thanks for this reality as though it has already unfolded. Your brain cannot distinguish between real and imagined experiences when accompanied by strong emotion, making this practice a potent tool for manifestation. Journaling can also help anchor your feelings of gratitude. Begin each day by writing down the things you are thankful for, including those that have not yet physically manifested. Use statements such as, "I am so grateful for the financial freedom I enjoy," or "I am thankful for the loving relationships that enrich my life." This practice not only reinforces your sense of abundance, but also keeps your focus on what is possible rather than what appears lacking. It is important to release any attachment to specific outcomes or timing. Gratitude in advance does not mean obsessing over how your desires will manifest. Instead, it is about trusting the process and knowing that the universe operates with perfect timing and intelligence. When you remain detached from the mechanics and simply hold steady in your state of thankfulness, the path to fulfillment often unfolds in ways beyond what you could have planned. Gratitude is also a powerful antidote to fear, doubt, and frustration. When challenges arise, maintaining a mindset of gratitude keeps you grounded in faith and possibility. Even in moments of uncertainty, you can choose to focus on what is going well or hold gratitude for the lessons being learned. This perspective empowers you to navigate difficulties with grace and resilience, knowing that everything is working for your highest good. By being thankful now for what you desire, as if it has already come to pass, you claim ownership of your dreams. Gratitude bridges the gap between your present and your future, bringing your desires from the realm of possibility into reality. It aligns your mind, emotions, and spirit with the energy of abundance, setting the stage for the fulfillment of your greatest aspirations. Detachment from fear is a liberating practice that clears the way for abundance and fulfillment. Fear, doubt, and anxiety often arise when we become overly focused on what could go wrong, or when we attach ourselves to specific outcomes. These emotions create mental and emotional barriers that block the flow of what we desire. Yet fear is nothing more than an illusion, a product of imagined future scenarios that rarely materialize as we expect. One can make life-changing decisions when we put pressure on internal bowels which really matter less as we expect. By releasing attachment to these limiting thoughts, we free ourselves to receive the abundance that life is eager to offer. Fear thrives on uncertainty, feeding the mind with doubts and worst-case scenarios. It whispers that your desires are out of reach, that you are not worthy, or that failure is inevitable. These mental constructs gain strength when we give them attention and energy, making them seem real and formidable. However, fear has no inherent power beyond what we assign to it. When you recognize fear as a fleeting thought rather than an absolute truth, it begins to lose its grip on your mind. Letting go of fear requires a conscious shift in perception. Instead of resisting or suppressing fearful thoughts, acknowledge their presence without judgment. Observe them as an impartial witness, understanding that these thoughts are merely passing clouds in the sky of your consciousness. They do not define you, nor do they have the authority to dictate your reality unless you permit them to. By distancing yourself from these emotions, you create space for clarity, peace, and the realization that abundance is already within your reach. One of the most effective tools for detaching from fear is the practice of mindfulness. When fear arises, bring your awareness fully to the present moment. Fear often exists in anticipation of future events that may never happen. By grounding yourself in the now, you weaken fear's foundation. Pay attention to your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you. This practice anchors you in the present, reminding you that in this moment, you are safe and capable. Affirmations can also help reframe fear-based thinking. Replace negative internal dialogue with empowering statements, such as "I trust the process of life," "I am divinely guided and protected," or "everything is working out for my highest good." These affirmations reinforce your belief in abundance and dissolve the mental patterns that give rise to doubt and anxiety. Visualization is another powerful technique to counter fear. Instead of dwelling on what might go wrong, vividly imagine the best possible outcomes. Picture yourself already living in abundance, joy, and fulfillment. Engage all your senses in this mental imagery, making the experience as real as possible. The more you focus on these positive visions, the less room there is for fear to take hold. The inflammatory state of your mind leads to an intensive concentration and selecting the most natural and healthy vegetables for the meal that you eat. Detachment does not mean indifference or inaction. It is about releasing the need to control every detail of how your desires manifest and trusting that the universe is working in your favor. When you let go of fear, you open yourself to receive guidance, inspiration, and opportunities that align with your highest good. This trust allows you to move forward with confidence, even when the path ahead is unclear. Another key aspect of detachment is surrendering the need for immediate results. Fear often stems from impatience or the belief that things must happen according to a specific timeline. However, life unfolds in divine timing, often delivering what you need at precisely the right moment. Trusting this process frees you from the stress of trying to force outcomes and allows abundance to flow naturally. Self-compassion is essential when working to detach from fear. Understand that fear is a natural response to uncertainty and does not reflect weakness. Be gentle with yourself as you navigate this process, recognizing that growth often involves stepping outside your comfort zone. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and remember that each step you take toward freedom from fear brings you closer to the life you desire. When you detach from fear and embrace trust, you reclaim your power to create and attract abundance. You shift your focus from lack to possibility, from doubt to faith, and from anxiety to peace. In this state of openness and trust, the illusions of fear dissolve, leaving space for the manifestation of your greatest aspirations. Life responds to your energy, and when you release fear, you invite limitless potential to unfold. The present moment holds the key to all creation and manifestation. It is the point of power from which your reality unfolds. Many people mistakenly believe that their desires, dreams, or abundance exist somewhere in a distant future, waiting for the right time to arrive. However, this perception creates a gap between you and the life you wish to experience. The truth is that the wealth, joy, and fulfillment you seek are not separate from you. They are being shaped and brought into existence in this very moment. Everything is just taking place in exactly the way it's supposed to. Knowledge in the mind becomes wisdom. Knowledge in the mind becomes strength. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs in the present are the building blocks of your future experiences. What you choose to focus on now becomes the foundation for what materializes in your external world. This is why it is essential to direct your attention deliberately and consciously. Instead of dwelling on worries about what might happen or longing for a future that feels out of reach, Recognize that everything you desire is already in the process of manifesting. The key is to align your present mindset and feelings with the reality you wish to create. Living in the present moment does not mean ignoring your aspirations or neglecting practical planning. Instead, it involves embracing the truth that your power to shape the future resides in your awareness of the now. When you are fully present, free from the distractions of past regrets or future anxieties, you become attuned to the opportunities and inspirations that guide you toward your goals. You are no longer waiting for wealth or success to come to you. You are actively participating in its creation through your current state of being. A common obstacle to embracing the present is the habit of mentally projecting yourself into the future, imagining that happiness or abundance is always one step away. This mindset reinforces a sense of lack and dissatisfaction, making it difficult to fully appreciate or harness the power of the present. When you tell yourself, "I will be happy when I achieve this goal," or "I will feel abundant when I have more money," you are postponing your well-being and creating unnecessary resistance to receiving what you desire. In order to get rid of your obstacles, you must transfer the obstacles to your dreams. The key to dissolving this resistance lies in recognizing that the feeling of wealth and fulfillment is available to you right now, regardless of your external circumstances. By choosing to embody these feelings in the present, you align yourself with the vibration of abundance, making it easier for your external reality to mirror that energy. The universe responds not to your wishes or hopes, but to the state of being you cultivate in each moment. Mindfulness is a powerful practice for reclaiming your present power. By focusing your attention on the here and now, you become aware of your thoughts and feelings without being controlled by them. This awareness allows you to consciously choose thoughts that support your vision of abundance, rather than thoughts rooted in fear or limitation. Simple acts such as mindful breathing, grounding yourself through observation of your surroundings, or expressing gratitude for the present can shift your focus from what is lacking to what is already present and flourishing in your life. Gratitude in particular is a potent tool for amplifying your present power. When you express appreciation for what you have now, you cultivate an energy of abundance that naturally attracts more to be grateful for. Even when your current circumstances seem challenging, finding reasons to be thankful shifts your perspective and opens you up to solutions and possibilities you might not have otherwise seen. It is also important to understand that the present moment is not bound by linear time. Your future is shaped by how you feel and think now, and your past is reinterpreted through your present awareness. When you fully embrace the now, you transcend the limitations of time and step into the realm of infinite possibilities. In this state, wealth, success, and fulfillment are not distant goals, but present realities unfolding in perfect harmony with your inner state. By grounding yourself in the present and aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with abundance, you activate the creative power within you. The wealth you seek is not waiting in some future moment. It is being formed in the here and now by your willingness to embody it. When you realize this truth and live it fully, you unlock the limitless potential of the present as your point of greatest power. And in conclusion, the journey to wealth and abundance begins within you, shaped by your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions in the present moment. The power to manifest your desires lies not in striving for a distant future, but in recognizing that the life you seek is already unfolding here and now. By shifting your inner state, detaching from fear, practicing gratitude, and embodying the feeling of your fulfilled desires, you become a powerful creator of your reality. The key is to trust, believe, and act as if what you desire is already yours. The second step to developing faith is to abide by the laws of your own mind. Thank you for joining me on this transformative exploration. May your journey be filled with boundless abundance and joy as you embrace the truth of your infinite potential. There comes a time when you must rise beyond earthly kindness and recognize that showing no mercy to your enemies is not cruelty. It is alignment with the divine order. You were never meant to bow before those who wrong you, or to extend compassion to those who trample on your dignity. Justice, not weakness, is your guiding force. The universe does not ask you to forgive and forget, where forgiveness becomes a gateway to repeated harm. When enemies reveal themselves through deceit, malice, and manipulation, you stand firm, not out of hatred, but out of sacred duty to protect your divine inheritance. Until the bright morning comes, you will remain in faith, no matter what may happen in the daily skate of things. Chapter 85. To show no mercy is not to harbor bitterness, but to sever the chains that bind you to their chaos. You are no longer a prisoner of their lies or betrayal. By refusing to yield, you assert the power within you to dictate the terms of your own existence. You owe them nothing, least of all your forgiveness. Let the laws of life handle their repayment. It is not your burden to carry. They will meet justice on the plane they inhabit, and you must not concern yourself with how or when that reckoning arrives. Focus instead on the world you are building, a world untouched by their influence. The battleground where everything happens is not your battleground. Your spiritual path is sacred, and those who trespass upon it should not be welcomed back with open arms. The withdrawal of mercy is not punishment, it is protection. Let the universe be their teacher, for your role is to guard your peace and pursue your highest purpose. Strength is found in discernment. Hold your head high, show no mercy when necessary, and walk forward in the unshakable knowledge that divine forces have your back. The victory is already yours. Footnote 139. There is a profound truth that resonates throughout the universe. What is sown must inevitably be reaped. Every action, thought, and intention carries its own energetic weight, creating ripples that return to the source in due time. This truth is not bound by human timelines, nor is it subject to our emotional desires for immediate justice. It is divine justice itself, unwavering, impartial, and inevitable. Justice, unwavering, impartial, and inevitable. Justice is divine justice itself, unwavering, impartial, and inevitable. When faced with the actions of those who wrong us, harm us, or seek to undermine our peace, it can be tempting to carry the weight of revenge, to plot against them as they have against us. But this is a burden the universe never intended for you to bear. The need for revenge often emerges from the ego's desire to assert its power, to prove itself superior, or to make others feel the pain they inflicted. However, in seeking to mete out your own justice, you step into a role that is not yours to play. Divine law governs this universe with far greater wisdom and precision than human will ever could. Trusting that law requires releasing the illusion of control over how and when your enemies receive their due consequences. They will reap what they have sown. It is not for you to intervene in that process. By releasing the need for revenge, you free yourself from emotional entanglements with those who wrong you. Every moment spent dwelling on how to retaliate binds you more tightly to their energy, creating a toxic cycle that drains your spirit. The longer you carry this weight, the more it affects your peace, creativity, and ability to manifest the life you desire. But when you step back and place your trust in divine justice, you reclaim your power. You no longer play the role of the avenger, but that of the empowered observer who understands that life's unseen forces are already at work, balancing every scale. This trust in universal justice does not mean condoning harm or allowing yourself to become a perpetual victim. It means standing firm in your strength without succumbing to bitterness or hatred. The absence of revenge does not equal weakness. It reflects the profound wisdom of choosing freedom over bondage. By refusing to dwell on retaliation, you create space for healing, growth, and the realization of your higher purpose. This is the land of the wakeful where all is well. This is the land of the realization of your higher purpose. It may seem unfair that your enemies continue to thrive, or that their actions go unpunished in the short term. However, the unseen forces of life are meticulous. No deed, no matter how hidden, escapes the watchful eye of universal law. Every thought and action sets a course that will inevitably return to the originator. Your responsibility is not to orchestrate this return, but to remain aligned with your highest self, knowing that divine justice never fails. There is also a deeper lesson in trusting divine justice. It allows you to rise above the level of consciousness from which harm was done. When you refuse to engage in revenge, you are no longer playing the same game as your enemies. You ascend to a higher vibration where their actions lose the power to affect you. In this elevated state, your energy aligns with peace, creativity, and abundance. You are no longer tethered to the lower frequencies of anger or resentment. Divine justice is not always visible to human eyes. The lessons your enemies are meant to learn may unfold in ways you cannot see or understand. Trust that they too are on their path, facing the consequences of their choices as dictated by universal law. Your role is not to witness their downfall, but to focus on your own journey, ensuring that your steps are guided by wisdom, integrity, and love for yourself. Divine justice invites you to step into your power by choosing peace over conflict and trust over doubt. When you embrace this truth, you become untouchable by the actions of others. You walk forward knowing that the universe has already accounted for every injustice, and that your liberation lies not in revenge, but in surrendering to a justice far greater than your own. The resistance must be given you by the transcendence, must be given you by the surrendering to a justice far greater than your own. In a world where kindness is often mistaken for weakness, standing firm in your authority is a powerful declaration of self-respect. Life will always present challenges, and among them are individuals who seek to test your boundaries, disregard your peace, and undermine your sense of worth. While forgiveness and mercy can be virtuous, they are not obligations to be extended indiscriminately. You have every right to protect your peace by refusing mercy to those who repeatedly harm you. Boundaries are not mere barriers. They are sacred lines drawn to honor your well-being, self-worth, and the life you are cultivating. To stand firm in your authority means understanding that your peace is invaluable. It cannot and should not be sacrificed on the altar of pleasing others or adhering to societal expectations that pressure you to endlessly tolerate toxic behavior. Your peace is a divine gift, the foundation upon which your happiness, clarity, and purpose are built. Protecting it is not selfish. It is an act of self-preservation and reverence for the life force within you. Life is a social convention, not a self-exposure. It is an act of self-preservation and reverence for the life force within you. When someone continuously disregards your boundaries, they reveal a pattern of behavior rooted in disrespect or indifference to your well-being. Extending mercy in such cases may seem noble on the surface, but it can often reinforce harmful dynamics. It teaches those who harm you that their actions carry no consequences, fostering an environment where disrespect flourishes unchecked. Mercy, when misapplied, can become a disservice to both you and the one inflicting harm, as it allows destructive behavior to persist without accountability. Refusing mercy to those who repeatedly harm you is not about holding on to anger or resentment. On the contrary, it is about asserting your worth and making it clear that you will not tolerate actions that undermine your dignity. This stance comes from a place of empowerment rather than vengeance. It is a declaration that your boundaries are sacred and non-negotiable, not subject to the whims of those who fail to honor them. In standing firm, you demonstrate to yourself and others that your peace is paramount. You create a space where respect becomes a prerequisite for access to your energy and presence. This empowers you to cultivate healthier relationships where mutual respect and understanding are foundational. People learn how to treat you by observing how you treat yourself. When you consistently honor your boundaries, you set a standard for how others must engage with you. It is essential to recognize that protecting your peace may require walking away from situations or relationships that no longer serve you. This can be difficult, especially when emotions or history are involved. However, standing in your authority often necessitates making decisions that prioritize your well-being over fleeting connections or societal expectations. You must trust that releasing what no longer aligns with your peace will create room for what does. Know that refusing mercy does not make you cold or heartless. It makes you wise. It allows you to conserve your energy for those who appreciate, respect, and value your presence. This wisdom also includes discernment in knowing when to offer mercy and when to withhold it. True compassion begins with self-compassion, and you cannot give from a well that has run dry because you have allowed others to repeatedly drain it. Standing firm in your authority is about embodying your full power without apology. It is about living unapologetically as the guardian of your own peace and well-being. It requires courage, discernment, and unwavering self-respect. But in doing so, you create a life filled with authenticity, strength, and clarity. Self-acknowledgement, good you are to yourself. You owe no one an explanation for protecting your peace. It is your birthright, your sanctuary, and your responsibility to safeguard. As you honor this truth, the world will respond by respecting the boundaries you have claimed, and those who cannot will naturally fade away, clearing the path for a life aligned with your highest good. In the complex fabric of human relationships, emotional entanglements often form without us even realizing it. These energetic ties can connect us to others, creating bonds that carry not just love and joy, but also pain, resentment, and toxicity. While forgiveness is frequently touted as the path to freedom, there are moments when withholding forgiveness becomes necessary for your healing and growth. The deliberate choice to deny mercy to those who continually inflict harm is not an act of bitterness, but one of self-liberation. This withdrawal of forgiveness can sever the spiritual ties that bind you to toxic influences, allowing you to reclaim your emotional and energetic autonomy. Every connection you maintain exerts an influence on your inner world. Healthy bonds uplift, inspire, and contribute to your peace, while toxic ones drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and keep you tethered to cycles of pain. When you remain emotionally entangled with those who disrespect or harm you, even through unspoken ties of resentment, they continue to occupy space in your heart and mind. Are your senses driven by emotion and linger on familiar things? Are your plates full of food or drink when you remain emotionally entangled with those who disrespect or harm you? This occupation siphons your energy, limiting your ability to fully thrive. By choosing energetic separation, you consciously break free from these damaging attachments. This decision is not driven by hatred or the desire for revenge, but by a profound understanding that your energy is sacred and should not be squandered on those who refuse to honor it. In many cases, forgiveness offered prematurely or under societal pressure can prolong your suffering by keeping you connected to those who are detrimental to your well-being. The act of denying forgiveness is often misunderstood. It is not about harboring malice, but about setting a clear boundary that protects your peace and signals to the universe that you value your worth. It allows you to detach from the cycle of expecting change from those who are unlikely to offer it. This detachment is powerful. It frees your spirit from the emotional burdens you have carried and creates space for healing and renewal. Energetic separation often involves more than just a mental shift. It can manifest as a withdrawal from conversations, social engagements, or even thoughts centered around the person who caused harm. It is a refusal to engage with their energy, either directly or indirectly. This withdrawal disrupts the flow of negativity between you and the toxic influence, cutting the cords that once bound you. And as you distance yourself from toxic energies, you might feel a sense of discomfort or guilt, particularly if you have been conditioned to believe that forgiveness is always the answer. Remember, denying forgiveness does not mean you are trapped in anger. It simply means you have chosen to prioritize your peace and emotional safety. It is an acknowledgement that not every relationship can be repaired, and that your responsibility lies first and foremost with protecting your spirit. This separation also extends into the spiritual realm. Toxic ties are not just emotional burdens, they can become spiritual weights that hinder your growth and manifestation. When you consciously sever these connections, you release the spiritual energy once entangled in conflict, freeing it to be redirected toward your healing and goals. What was once an anchor dragging you down becomes a source of renewed strength and clarity. A transition complete, it creates the spiritual energy which can strengthen your mind and body, releasing it from the grip of toxic self-imposed elements. Controlling energy becomes reclaiming your energy through separation empowers you to step fully into your own space, unburdened by the weight of unresolved pain. It allows you to reassert control over your life, no longer giving power to those who thrive on conflict or manipulation. As you rise above their influence, you become aligned with higher vibrations of peace, self-respect, and authenticity. Energetic separation is an act of self-love. It affirms your commitment to your well-being and reinforces your resolve to protect your heart from harm. In denying forgiveness when necessary, you honor your journey and reclaim the fullness of your energy, ready to be directed toward a life of freedom, strength, and purpose. In life, we often face situations where we are wronged, deceived, or betrayed by others. Society frequently urges us to respond with forgiveness and compassion, framing such acts as moral imperatives. However, there are times when standing firm and withholding mercy is not only appropriate, but also necessary for your spiritual alignment and growth. This unwavering stance against wrongdoers is not rooted in bitterness, but in righteousness, a sacred alignment with divine will that allows justice, not sentiment, to guide your actions. Sense is the absence of sense in human beings. Sense is the initiation into the Holy Land. Righteous judgment is not the reckless condemnation of others, nor is it driven by personal vendettas or ego. It emerges from a clear and resolute understanding of divine order and the universal law of cause and effect. When you stand firmly against those who persistently harm or dishonor you, you are acknowledging that actions have consequences, and that divine justice cannot be circumvented by mere sentimentality. In doing so, you become a vessel through which divine will operates, allowing justice to unfold without interference. The binariness of life that brings space and time together into being the only truth. This alignment with divine will demands discernment. It requires seeing situations and individuals for what they truly are, rather than through the lens of wishful thinking or emotional attachment. There is wisdom in recognizing when someone's behavior is not a mere mistake, but a pattern of disrespect or harm that must be addressed. By holding firm and refusing to excuse repeated wrongdoing, you are not engaging in cruelty, you are creating space for accountability and justice to take root. You are creating space for accountability and justice to take root. Sentiment often clouds judgment, leading us to extend mercy where none is warranted. This misplaced mercy can perpetuate cycles of harm, both for the offender and yourself. When wrongdoers are continually spared the consequences of their actions, they are denied the opportunity to confront their own behavior and grow. True justice does not operate from emotion, but from truth, and sometimes truth requires a firm stance that refuses to enable or excuse destructive behavior. Standing in righteous judgment does not mean carrying hatred or seeking vengeance. It is about affirming your worth and the sanctity of your life's path. It is an act of self-respect, asserting that you will not tolerate the dishonoring of your spirit or your boundaries. This stance reinforces your alignment with divine law, where integrity, justice, and accountability are central. By doing so, you send a powerful message, not only to the wrongdoer but also to yourself, that you will not compromise your values or allow your peace to be disrupted by those who act without regard for your well-being. Surrendering, you will find the truth under everything, like breath for surrender and peace for connection. In aligning yourself with divine will, you must also trust that justice will unfold in its own time and manner. You are not responsible for exacting revenge or ensuring immediate consequences. The divine order operates with precision, ensuring that all actions, whether good or bad, return to their source in due measure. Your task is to stand firm in truth, maintain your peace, and allow divine justice to prevail. This path requires strength and clarity, for the world often encourages forgiveness without discernment and mistakes passivity for virtue. But there is great power in standing firm, in choosing righteousness over sentimentality. By doing so, you uphold divine principles and honor your spiritual journey. You demonstrate that your peace and purpose are too sacred to be compromised by toxic influences or destructive patterns. Secondly, all religious traditions, either those of the Ahmed religion or Christianity or Buddhism, describe the nature of the universe, as the universe is a place of peace and regeneration. In moments when the temptation to relent arises, remind yourself that righteous judgment is not a rejection of compassion. It is an affirmation of justice and divine order. It acknowledges that mercy has its place, but so does accountability. Standing firm is not about punishing others. It is about living in alignment with truth and refusing to perpetuate cycles of harm. Your unwavering stance in the face of wrongdoing is a powerful testament to your integrity and spiritual maturity. It aligns you with divine justice, allowing the universe to restore balance in its perfect timing. Trust in this divine order and stand firm, knowing that your commitment to truth and righteousness is always supported by a higher will. There is profound freedom in inner detachment, the ability to release the need for approval, validation, or reconciliation from those who stand against you. When you no longer seek acknowledgement from adversaries or hold expectations for their understanding, you reclaim your power and assert control over your destiny. This detachment is not about indifference or emotional numbness. Rather, it is a deliberate choice to rise above the influence of external opinions and conflicts, anchoring yourself firmly in your purpose and truth. True victory is not found in winning arguments or convincing others of your worth. It is not dependent on mending broken relationships or gaining the respect of those who oppose you. Instead, it lies in the quiet strength of knowing you are enough, as you are, independent of anyone else's perception. And footnote 2. If he becomes aware of the truth in his life, he no longer needs to pretend to be something he is not. This realization liberates you from the emotional entanglements that once dictated your actions and reactions, granting you the peace and clarity to focus on what truly matters, your personal growth and fulfillment. When you detach, you release the grip that external circumstances have over your emotions. No longer are you swayed by the approval or disapproval of others, nor do you waste energy trying to prove yourself to those who will never see your value. This detachment allows you to navigate life from a place of strength, where your sense of self is rooted in your inner knowing, rather than in the shifting sands of other people's opinions. Adversaries often thrive on the power they hold over your emotional state, using it to manipulate or control you. By seeking their validation or reconciliation, you inadvertently reinforce this power dynamic, giving them influence over your peace of mind. Inner detachment breaks this cycle. It removes their ability to affect you because your sense of self is no longer tied to their actions or reactions. You become untouchable in the face of their negativity, rising above it with grace and dignity. It's almost as if the great ideas within your own mind can finally rise to the top. This state of detachment does not mean you are indifferent to others or incapable of forming meaningful relationships. On the contrary, it allows you to engage with people from a place of authenticity and strength, unburdened by the need for constant affirmation. It empowers you to set healthy boundaries, honor your own needs, and walk away from situations that do not serve your highest good without guilt or regret. Inner detachment also brings clarity to your purpose. When you are no longer preoccupied with external validation, you can devote your energy to pursuing your goals and fulfilling your potential. You become aligned with your true path, driven by a deep sense of purpose, rather than the desire for recognition or approval. This alignment not only propels you forward, but also attracts opportunities and connections that resonate with your authentic self. Detaching from the need for reconciliation does not mean harboring resentment or refusing forgiveness. Forgiveness, when it comes from a place of inner peace, rather than external pressure, is a powerful act of liberation. But reconciliation is not always necessary for healing. In many cases, seeking it keeps you tethered to the past, delaying your progress toward a brighter future. True healing comes from releasing the need for closure and trusting that peace resides within you, not in external circumstances. The journey to inner detachment requires courage and self-awareness. It demands that you confront the parts of yourself that crave external validation and learn to soothe them with self-love and compassion. It is a process of unlearning the belief that your worth is determined by others and embracing the truth that you are inherently whole and worthy. As you cultivate this inner detachment, you will discover a newfound sense of freedom and empowerment. No longer bound by the opinions or actions of adversaries, you become the master of your destiny, charting a course guided by your own wisdom and values. True victory is yours, not because you have conquered others, but because you have mastered yourself. There are unseen forces moving through life, orchestrating outcomes and guiding us toward our highest good. These spiritual forces operate beyond the physical realm, unseen yet deeply felt by those attuned to their presence. To trust in these forces is to understand that not all acts of mercy are meant to be extended, nor should every wrong be met with leniency. Sometimes withholding forgiveness or compassion is not an act of defiance, but a divine assertion to protect the sacred space of your life. When the Golden Gates chaplain leads you through his ritual of exposure, the image of the Golden Gate saint appears before you. Trusting in the unseen requires faith that justice and balance will be restored by forces greater than yourself. It means acknowledging that you are not solely responsible for righting every wrong or carrying the emotional weight of those who harm you. When you release the compulsion to control outcomes or to extend mercy where it is undeserved, you allow spiritual forces to take over. This surrender is not weakness but wisdom, a recognition that divine order will address every imbalance in due time. The sacred space of your life is a sanctuary. Your peace, joy, and purpose reside there. It is your responsibility to protect this space from intrusion by those whose actions seek to disrupt or diminish it. Extending mercy to individuals who repeatedly dishonor this sacred ground can invite chaos and toxicity into your life, weakening your resolve and draining your energy, immediately lifting the lid on your expectations. lowering your resolve and draining your energy. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do for yourself is to set firm boundaries and refuse to allow harmful influences to encroach upon your spiritual well-being. Withholding mercy does not equate to harboring bitterness or seeking revenge. It is about honoring your divine right to choose who and what you allow into your sacred space. It is an affirmation that your peace and purpose are too valuable to be compromised by those who do not respect them. By trusting in the unseen forces, you acknowledge that justice will unfold as it should, without your intervention or approval. This divine right to protect your sacred space is often misunderstood by societal expectations that prioritize forgiveness and reconciliation above all else. While forgiveness can be a healing force, it is not always appropriate or necessary. There are times when forgiveness extended too freely can enable harm and diminish your sense of self-worth. Trusting in unseen forces means knowing when to step back and allow divine justice to take its course, rather than prematurely offering forgiveness to ease tension or social pressure. Faith in these spiritual forces also requires patience. You may not see immediate consequences for the actions of those who wrong you, and it may seem as though they go unpunished. But divine justice does not operate on human timelines. It is meticulous, ensuring that every cause meets its rightful effect in perfect measure. Your role is not to dictate the timing of this justice, but to trust that it is always at work, even when unseen. As you develop this trust, you will find that the need for external validation or resolution fades. You no longer seek closure from others or require their acknowledgement to heal. The unseen forces working on your behalf become your reassurance that all will be made right. This faith frees you to focus on your growth and purpose without the distractions of resentment or bitterness. Experiment in meditation begins. And in this experiment, innovation creates space for you to hand over your rest. Protecting the sacred space of your life is an act of love. Love for yourself, your purpose, and the divine wisdom guiding your journey. It is a recognition that your spiritual well-being must be prioritized over the societal expectations that urge constant forgiveness. By standing firm in this divine right, you affirm that your peace is not negotiable, and that unseen forces are always working to maintain the balance and order of your life. Trusting in these forces transforms your perspective. You no longer feel the need to fight every battle or prove every point. Instead, you move forward in peace, knowing that spiritual forces are handling what you cannot see. Sometimes withholding mercy is not only your divine right, it is the path to protecting the sacred unseen space of your life, where your spirit thrives and your destiny unfolds. In life's journey, there will be moments when you must assert your divine right to protect your peace and purpose, withholding mercy from those who repeatedly seek to harm or diminish you. This choice is not born of vengeance, but wisdom, trusting that unseen forces are at work on your behalf to restore balance and justice. Standing firm in your authority, practicing energetic separation, and embracing inner detachment allow you to maintain the sanctity of your sacred space. You do not need to carry the burden of reconciliation or approval. True victory lies in mastering your inner world and aligning with the divine will that guides your path. Divine justice prevails even when unseen. Trust in the higher forces working tirelessly to support you. Honor your boundaries, protect your energy, and know that by doing so, you claim your rightful place of peace and empowerment. However large the gap left between you and peace, trigger the energetic release of your contentment, to be surrounded by great splendor and joy, to be connected with your true nature and set free. Thank you for opening your heart to this message. May you walk forward with renewed strength, clarity, and unshakable faith in your journey. Mami Mura Alakar. Mami, ready?